Hi everyone! Today we'll tell you how to play Chandigarh by Tony Lopez, a pattern building game recommended for ages 10 and up for 2 to 4 players with an approximate duration of 45 to 60 minutes. The game's goal is to make your designs prevail to earn the most prestige points by the end of the game. Setup. First, place the tiles with the appropriate side facing up to form a 4x4 grid. Use the brown edge side for 2 and 3 player games, and the blue side for 4-player games. Place a street tile face down at one end of each street in the grid and one or more at the upper right corner. Once done, flip them face up. Choose a color and take the architect and the 5 supervisors. Place the architect at the central crossroad of the city and the supervisors in your play area. Pick one specialist tile of each color and place them next to the city. Place as many specialist tokens of the corresponding color as there are players in the game on each tile. Then, place the 4 specialist pawns on the 4 corner squares randomly. It is recommended to use 2 specialists for each action of the game. In the first game, we recommend using Commercial Manager, Park Designer, Local Brahmin, and Logistics Manager. All specialist abilities are detailed on the last page of the rulebook. Set the buildings aside and place one of each in the corresponding squares. In 3-player games, remove 2 buildings of each color. In 2-player games, remove 4 buildings of each color. Place the score tokens next to the city. Then, form a deck with the project cards and flip cards according to the number of players. 6 cards in 2-player games, 7 cards in 3-player games, 8 cards in 4-player games. Start with the player holding the initial player marker, and moving clockwise, everyone takes a project card and 2 buildings of different colors and places them in front of themselves. The remaining cards form the project reserve. Once this is done, everything is ready to start playing. Player's turn. On your turn, you can only perform one of the following actions: moving and building, or adding a new card to your project and scoring. Moving and building. Move. First, look at your project cards. These will indicate the total number of steps you can take. With each step, you can move to an adjacent intersection, considering that you cannot backtrack. If you want to return to the starting square, you must take a detour. You cannot end your turn where another architect is, but you can stop and even build. You don't have to use all your steps. Build. With each step, you can build by placing a building from your reserve on a free plot located in the street sections immediately adjacent to the intersection where your architect is. You can make as many constructions as the steps you have and/or the buildings you have. You cannot build before moving. When you build in a sector with a building of the same color as the specialist pawn on it, take a token of their color and place it next to your project. Then move the specialist to another free square. From now on, you can use that specialist's ability once per turn. Some specialists grant points at the end of the game to the player who has their token. You can only have 1 token for each specialist. When you place the last building in a sector, it is considered completed. At that moment, place one of your supervisors in the square of the completed sector. If there is a specialist on the square, move them to a free square. Adding a new card to your project and scoring. First, choose one of the 4 available cards in the reserve and place it at one end of your project. Then, take the buildings indicated by the cards on the sides you just connected. Your reserve has a limit of 6 buildings. If you exceed this, you'll have to remove buildings from the game until you have 6. This icon means you can choose any building. If your project has 3 cards and you add a new one, after obtaining the buildings, score and remove the card from the opposite end of the new card from the game as follows. The card will show a pattern in stars, which are the points you will get each time the indicated pattern is repeated. The pattern must respect both the layout and the color of the buildings, but can be in any orientation. Each building can only be counted once. For example, in this case, this pattern is shown twice. Since the card indicates 2 stars, this player will receive 4 points. Detailed explanations of each pattern on the project cards are provided on pages 10 and 11 in case you have any doubts during the game. Once done, flip a new deck card from the deck and add it to the project reserve. End of the game. When someone takes the last building of a color, continue playing until the round ends. And then the game ends. At that time, count the score as follows. Choose one of the cards remaining in your project and score it. Score the specialists you have obtained. Each street tile will give points to whoever has the most supervisors in adjacent sectors. Whoever achieves this gets the points indicated by the number that is not in parentheses. If there is a tie, both players get the points in parentheses. The corner tile awards points to whoever has the most supervisors on the city's perimeter. The player with the highest score wins. And that concludes the Chandigarh video, where we will help Le Corbusier build one of the most important cities in India.